Hi guys, welcome to Improved Garage. Today we're going to be working on what some people have called the Milwaukee grease mod. So I haven't tested this yet. I've seen it on a couple of YouTube channels. I've heard a couple of people talk about it and say that it makes a fairly decent difference in the Milwaukee M18 Polisher's operation to change out the grease in here from what they put in from the factory to something a little bit more thick. And we're going to open this up. I've never done this, and I watched one or two videos on it, but I honestly forget exactly what they told you to take apart. I'm going to be replacing the grease that's inside with the Super Coat 2000 lithium grease. They basically said any white lithium grease should be great. Some people are using like red and tacky, but I felt that that was a little too thick, but I don't know, what do I know? So I removed the 4 screws here. Those are an Allen. It's an SAE size, 9/64. There are 3 Phillips here. When you're doing stuff like this, I like to just kind of put things in order of how I took them apart. So now here we've got there's like a weight, which I don't think this is going to get me to where I need to go. Maybe. These two have red Loctite on them. So I had to click it up from setting 1 to setting 2. It looks like you don't have to take those screws out that I just did. That seems like the wrong way. There's a T10 on the side here, so we'll start at the top here. I don't know how many of these I have to take apart, but it looks like maybe this whole front black plastic piece. So this mod is supposed to make the polisher smoother and also quieter. I've used this on camera many times. I ran it quite a bit before starting this video, so I'd have an idea of what it sounded like fresh in my mind. All of these screws are the same, so that's good. Okay, so this top comes off. So black plastic piece comes off, both sides. And then, all right, so we've got a couple Torx there. Let me pull the battery out. So those Torx look to be a T20. There we go. So this doesn't look too bad. Some of the ones that I've seen online showed that like everything was kind of slung out, but there is very limited amount on the teeth, and that's what people were commenting on most, is the amount that is on the teeth to keep it from like chattering when you let off the trigger. So I'm going to get a rag to clean this out, and then we're going to re-grease it with the lithium grease. And I will say, part of this is curiosity. I've never opened up a power tool before and changed the grease in it to try to make it more or less effective. It seems a little silly to me, but there are enough people online that are talking about how big of a difference this makes to make it, I don't know, worth trying, in my opinion. This is probably the best tool for this job. This is a Griot's Garage detailing swab. Looks like that. That's the one. It's like a long, flat one, but you can kind of use it like a spoon and pull out from all of these pockets and crevices all the grease. All right, so we've removed all of our grease, and now we're going to open up this Super Coats, which is, like I said, a white lithium grease, and pack this up. So I think with this, you want to put in more than you think you do, because there are these pockets that are not the easiest to fill in. So I'm gonna try to like push them down into this these pockets with this spatula thing, because it just seems like once this heats up, it's going to push it all down into these pockets anyway. Just make sure that that socket is clean. And now I think we're in a good place where we can tighten this down. So again, this is a T20. This didn't need to come off. So if you're doing this yourself, you don't need to take this weight off. You can spin this around to get at all of the T20s that are below it. I'm going to put these back in with a screwdriver just so that I can manage the torque a little bit better. They were tight, but they had Loctite on them too, so they probably aren't torqued that heavily. So again, this didn't need to come off either. It's probably better that you don't take it off, because if you don't have these bearings, there we go, lined up perfectly, it's a pain. So these 3 screws don't need to come out either, because you can again get at that T20 if you need to. And this backing plate does need to come off. You might be able to get around it creatively through some of these holes that are here, but this one's a little too far out and the other ones are blocked by the inner ring. So I don't think that that's going to work. So I would just say take this off. So really this is these 4 Allens, which are the 9/64ths, and the side screws are the ones that need to come out. So give this a little shot on number 1, and then this goes on this way and the other one goes on the other side. So I want to test this out really quick. Wow. That actually is way different. Holy crap. Okay. Well, shoot. I kind of expected this to be a funny BS video. Wow. Well, so 2 differences. One, there's definitely a difference in the pitch of the polisher itself. Instead of it having like a scratchy sound, it's more of like a whirring sound. Definitely more pleasant. I would describe the sound as more pleasant. Number 2, it definitely feels quieter. Now I don't have an initial I didn't do like a decibel reading at the beginning of this. Maybe there are some people that have. You could look at other people's videos. I truly didn't expect this to make a big difference. I just thought it'd be something neat to try and see what it did. There isn't that like overspin, I guess is how to describe it. Like when you let off the trigger of this, it kind of like clacks back and forth. You can hear like a little bit of it's chatter from the teeth, like the worm gear and that larger gear having a gap there. It like chatters a little bit as it slows down, and it definitely doesn't do that anymore. Now, there's a question about whether or not it's going to like come back, right? Like okay, so you take the grease out of something, you refill it with new grease. Now all of a sudden it doesn't make noise. Well, does it not make noise forever, or does it not make noise for a day? I use this fairly often. I want to say that it's always sounded pretty much the same way as it does, or as it did today. It's hard to know though. Like, I guess I can go back to the video where I first installed, where I first pulled this out of the box and used it for the very first time and see how it is. But I want to say it's always done that like clacky noise, and it's not now. So I think that this might be better than how it came out of the box, but I'm not sure. So I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that video, and I'm also going to have to use it for a little while with this new grease installed and see, like, does it, as it heats up and as you use it, does it start to do the same stuff as what it used to do before it? Because if it's just that I changed the grease and it's good for a day, that's completely different than like, this is a superior grease to what was in there. But it does feel like when you let off the trigger, this head stops faster, and then this guy just spins, rather than before they would both kind of move for a minute. Not a minute, but they would both move for a short time. Like, there would be a little bit of action that happened there. So it feels a little bit slower to start up. Like, when you first pull the trigger, the responsiveness seems slightly slower. But this machine always had headroom, so I don't know that that really matters. Like, I don't think I've ever had the thing maxed out. It goes up to like 5100. I think the most I've ever used it at is like 4050 or maybe 4400. So there's always been headroom. I don't think that that matters, even if there was a slight degradation in performance. The sound is pretty significantly different. That's really cool. Again, I'm completely surprised by this. I've heard a couple people talk about it. I've watched a video or two where somebody was saying, oh yeah, it's great. And I was like, I doubt it. Like, grease, it's grease, right? But yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I'm going to use this a little bit more off camera, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of wrap up this video. So it's been 3 weeks since I did the grease mod on the Milwaukee. Mod is kind of a weird word. Since I repacked the grease in the Milwaukee M18 Polisher. After that, I did a ceramic coating on the 2021 Honda Passport, which involved some spot corrections here and there. We'll call it a 1-step or a 0.5 step. Like, there's a lot of panels that I didn't even touch because they weren't that bad. There are some that I did a full like 1-step polish on. But then my buddy brought over his 2021 Mercedes GLC300, and he and I spent 6 hours paint correcting that car. I did one side, he did the other, and this was used the entire time. Following that project, the sound remained pretty similar to how it was as soon as I was done with the grease. So there you can hear it on camera. I realize it's not like, you know, doing 10 cars or working a 40-hour week with it, but I did use it. It was probably running for 2.5, 3 hours during that car. You know, it took us about 6 to do it. So at this point, the grease hasn't failed or changed in any way that I can tell. I'm pretty happy with the effect that the changing of the grease had on the overall sound signature of the unit. It quieted down quite a bit. It removed some of the grindiness of the gear set. And overall, I just think that it made it a more pleasant tool to use. In no time during the correction of either car did we feel like the unit had reduced power, reduced torque, not powerful enough, you know, anything like that. It's just a good overall experience. So anyway, that's all that I have for today. Thank you for watching. I will put a link in the description to the grease that I used. I am not an expert on grease. Like I said, there might be something that's better. I've heard people mention red and tacky as an option as well. I chose the white lithium grease based on one of the videos that I followed. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.